So the problems with these so far is adaptability does not extend to activating afferent pathway. So this is the sensory pathway going back from the muscles to the brain. So we need to have two pathways to have a smooth locomotion in muscles, and that is called muscle synergies. So you need to have different muscle groups acting at the same time to do a complex movement. We don't have adaptation to neural recognition, reorganization, and hyperexcitability in spinal cord injury. Also, electrodes lead to scarring if you have them for a long period of time, if they're not very, not biocompatible, and leads encapsulation and signal attenuation. So remember, if you have an electrode, it's a metal, it's inside the body, it's not biocompatible, the body tried to dissolve it, it's not going to be dissolved, it will be encapsulated, and if it's encapsulated, the electrode cannot detect electrical activity. So we have signal attenuation. And then we have inefficient power sources. You need, batteries, and you need to charge them. If you're having a device that need power in the body for a long period of time, that's going to be a challenge. And then we have inadequate signal processing algorithms, and that's why we are investing time as biomedical engineers to learn how to use MATLAB, Simulink, and LabVIEW, all these softwares. We would like to get more and more experience in developing, codes and extraction algorithms. It's simple, but it needs a lot of practice. When we study medical signal and image processing, we will talk about, convolution and autocorrelation and cross-correlation, and how can, let's say, if you have a CT scan image, and how would a tumor will look like, you would like to go through thousands of images searching for that tumor. There are ways to do this, and that's signal processing algorithm. For our applications in the when we talk about functional electrical stimulation, we have huge databases of EEG signal, let's say, and we would like to look for small patterns to detect movement over the lower extremities or upper extremities. So there's a lot of potential to do this. And then we have lack of concise biomechanical models to correlate neural discharge rate, firing rate, to movement dynamics and kinematics. And that's another big field and area of research that is available for if you look forward to it. So all of these are current technology limitations. We talked about 4 models or modalities of functional electrical stimulation. All of this promising challenges for us to engage in and learn more if you are interested in this field. Now, the future or part of it, we are looking for idea of shared control. And what do we mean by shared control? So let's say I have electrodes in my brain and someone else have some electrodes or array, microelectrode array in their brain. Both of us will be controlling something. It's a unique idea, but it's actually getting attraction. And it is now, I think there was an experiment with 2 arrays of electrodes planted in the brains of 2 different monkeys. They were successful in controlling a robotic arm and smooth control of robotic arm. Also, we're looking at stimulating central pattern generators for rhythmic movement, bidirectional interfacing. That is to help afferent pathway and the afferent pathway synchronization. We are developing novel bioelectrodes. Ions actually are the molecules that generate electricity in the body. We are trying to generate electrodes made from polymers, from plastics, mimicking electrical conduction by allowing ions to move in and out. So we're trying to create electrodes from polymers, not from metals. And the way that they are conducting electricity is by allowing ions to move in and out, not electrons. And so there's a lot of research going on about this right now. The other thing is that we have building implantable neuromuscular implant based on work on artificial muscle. So we're trying to create artificial muscles that can contract actually to replace the tissue or our muscles. They could experience atrophy because of lack of stimulation and use, and we're trying to build that thing. And then that led us to something called body-powered implants. So the challenge of having reliable power supplies. So we're trying to use the body to power the implants. So you can use, for example, the body movement, especially vibrations, to charge batteries inside the body. And there are a lot of ways to do this, but I'm not going to go into it. But this is part of the future that we're hoping that we can develop.